Men are using dark psychological tricks on you, and most people don't even know that they're going on. So today I'm going to tell you about 7 tricks that you need to watch out for, because I'm talking about manipulators who study your mind like a textbook, who know exactly the buttons to press to make you lose control. So let's get into the 7 dark psychological tactics that evil people are using to get inside your head. And these aren't just mind games, they're psychological weapons designed to make you their puppet. And warning, you might realize that somebody is already doing these to you, and I know it's going to make you sick, but it is going to be so helpful. So let's talk about dark psychology trick number 1, and let me use my whiteboard real quick. So number 1 is they study you. And that'll come as obvious, but they study you in a way that picks apart your fantasies and plays to you. So they figure exactly what you want most in life, and they make you believe that they can give it to you. And let's say you're a lonely person, you kind of feel invisible a lot of times. They're going to make you feel like you're someone popular, you're beautiful, you're living an amazing life, and they start painting this beautiful picture of you two together. And when we're together, people will look at us differently. You're going to get so much social recognition. Everyone's going to treat you better. These people are masters of persuasion. Or maybe you're broke, maybe you're struggling, and they talk about the trips you'll take together, the luxury lifestyle, and how successful you'll be as a couple. But this isn't a love. This is actually an active strategy. They've identified what you've lacked, and they're selling themselves as the solution. And the root of all the obsession is people lacking something deep within themselves. It's usually a lack of self-love or something we didn't get as a kid. And this is why if you go to my video on rewriting our limiting love stories, this is super important, because people see and they're attracted to this wounded, they're attracted to this lack nature, and people become addicted to the fantasy that this person paints and not the actual person in front of them, because oftentimes there are many red flags about that person. Number 2 is they target your insecurities. Insecurities. Manipulators are like emotional detectives. They study societal expectations. They figure out where you don't fit. Maybe you think your nose is too big. Maybe you feel like you never got the recognition from your parents. And here's a specific example. Short men, society tells them that they should be tall, so they're often insecure about their height. So a manipulator would be like, oh, you're so masculine, strong, you have way more presence than tall guys that have no personality. And I know this is a channel specifically usually talking to women, so it does make sense that I use that male example, but they will actively pick apart, and that was just the one that came to mind, they will actively pick apart the thing that you may be self-conscious about and use it against you. They may even mine for this type of data so that they can use it in the future. And they're going to listen to your pain points, and they're going to be like, how can I use this? One, they'll use it as a kind of a mini drug to make it feel like, oh, he's the only person I don't feel like I have this insecurity around. And then he'll use it in arguments to be like, oh, no one will ever love you because your nose is too big, or no one will ever love you because you're actively you never support your sister or something like that. They'll use these things against you. So be mindful of giving out too much information, especially on early dates. Hot and cold treatment. This is a classic. So this is really psychological warfare disguised as romance. And here's how it works. Phase 1, they give you massive validation about your insecurities. If you're a photographer, they'll comment, love this photo on every single post for the next few weeks. And suddenly they stop. No comments, no validation. Your brain goes, what? Was my photo bad? He used to always like my stories. He used to always respond. Why didn't he comment? Did I do something wrong? And phase 3 is after a few posts of silence, they hit you again. They say it's intermittent reinforcement. Oh, I love this photo. Instantly back, dopamine. Maybe they text you so much they call you every single night, and then for a few weeks, they're very slow. You feel like, oh, what did I do wrong? You start overanalyzing every conversation. And what they've done is they've pretty much programmed you to crave their attention. They're giving you this hot and cold treatment. If you study kind of pickup artist techniques, is what they'll do is they'll push forward. They'll be super close to you, and they'll pull back to make you addicted, not to their behavior, but literally addicted to the emotional regularity. So let's take it emotions over time, right? So they're going to continuously spike these emotions because essentially the delta, sorry to make this an economics lesson, feels very crazy. Those high highs are accustomed to low lows. So you feel the need of when they pull back that you end up starting to lean in, and then you're chasing them. It's a very interesting psychological trick that they do there. Let's go into number 4 is the blank slate technique. And watch out for people who seem to be a little too perfectly compatible with you. They seem to love everything you love. Let me write that down. The blank slate. And this, if you watched Wizard Liz and Landon, he essentially did this perfectly, which is very depressing. I feel bad for Liz. Is they love everything that you love. They really have no strong opinions. Every conflict you believe in, they believe in. They're not your soulmate. They're actually a chameleon. And they let you project your fantasies onto them. They become a blank canvas, and if you're super into manifestation, they're super into manifestation. You like hiking, suddenly they're nature people. You like art, oh, hey, they just recently joined an art museum. You want kids, oh, they can't wait to be a parent. But notice, they never really have a strong preference that might create a conflict. Whatever it is that you're into in the moment, they're into. And this is a tricky one to spot, but you just have to kind of keep a tally. Do we always agree on everything? Because oftentimes, this person's not being very authentic and it's a little too peculiar. You may mistake it for somebody that you're like, oh, this is my soulmate, but zero conflict? That's kind of weird. Number 5, they strike during your weakest moments. Strike, weakness. And this is something that's just so common with manipulators is they can literally I don't know how they do it. They're kind of like a shark in water. Like they can just smell a droplet of blood. Manipulators tend to have a very good understanding of human dynamics and persuasion, and they're able to see right when you're very vulnerable. Maybe you just got out of a relationship and they're there, comfort and understanding, having family problems. They're your emotional support. Feeling insecure about your career, they believe in you like nobody else. And you think that they care about you, but really, they're not there to help you heal. They want you to be dependent on you. They sense the weakness like sharks sense blood in the water. They swoop in and they get what they want from you when your defenses are low. I've had women come to me saying that guys have literally stolen money from them because they were essentially there after their husband died or after a very low point in their life. And this real support, it feels strong in the moment, but there's always red flags. And manipulators, they can feel it when you're needing something. So watch out for that. And they're very attuned. This is not to make you super pessimistic. I just want to make you aware of things that are out there. Okay, let's go into love bombing. This is a very common one, probably one of the most common ones that people see. And they come on so hard, right? They're calling you every single night. They're taking you on so many dates, constant compliments that feel a little bit over the top. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever been to. He writes her a poem. I've never felt this way about anyone. You're perfect. You're literally everything I wanted. I can't wait to introduce you to my mom. 10 compliments in a row. And an outside party will be like, oh, that's a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe expensive gifts for no reason. This happened with Wizard Liz as an example. He sent her, I think, $10,000 after the first time they met. So a very you might think, wow, this guy really loves me. But it's way too much, way too early. And this isn't passion. It's actually a psychological technique to overwhelm your critical thinking with emotions. So they're really trying to increase the emotions that our logical brain would be like, this is a little bit too much too fast. And normal people, they give reasonable compliments at a reasonable place. And manipulators, what they try to do is they try to flood you with validation. Another common thing they'll do, and this is kind of a love bombing technique, is they'll do this thing called a marathon date. So let's say a typical date, let's say tip date is 1.5 to 2 hours, right? What they'll do is they'll essentially make a 6-hour date where they'll bounce you from location to location to location to location. And they're trying to build out this false sense of intimacy, being like, maybe I do like him. Maybe we have known each other for a while. Maybe we talk so long. And they'll often be big on talking a lot before the date. Is they're trying to close the deal really quickly, so to speak, trying to get to the intimate parts really fast. And then they'll pull away hard. So just watch out for that. It's probably one of the most common ones. All right, let's go into technique number 7 that they use is future faking, and false promises. Is they constantly talk about your future together. Oh my God, we can do this trip to Europe together. Oh, imagine how beautiful our kids are going to be. I can't wait to introduce you to my family. But watch their actions. Do they actually book the trip? Are they actually taking steps to move your future forward? Do they follow through on anything? Or they'll use something like reverse psychology, like, oh, my future wife will do XYZ attribute. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you conform to that attribute, really trying to prove yourself harder to be like, oh yeah, I could definitely do that. That could be me. So the dark psychology behind all of this it's quite tricky to pick out, but hopefully you got a better understanding. And these work because you're a normal person. You have normal needs. You want to feel valued. You want genuine connection. You believe people are genuinely good, and you give people the benefit of the doubt. What manipulators do is they exploit your humanity. They use your capacity for love against you. So how can we protect you, right? Because that's one of the most important things. One is self-love, right? we talk about this in a lot of my videos on like Aura, is we got to work on our insecurities in therapy. You can come to my community. We have a bunch of exercises to help you improve and rewrite some of the limiting stories. And when you validate yourself, you're not constantly seeking external validation, which is what these manipulators are looking for. 2 is go slow. Go slow. Anyone pushing for anyone pushing for instant intimacy or making big promises early, they can often be a red flag. So just take it slow. This is why we often talk on the channel about extending the intimacy timeline, because you do not want to be bamboozled by one of these guys. Number 3 is watch the actions, ignore the words. So watch actions, ignore words. Obviously the words are important, but you want to listen to the words just in the sense that, okay, let's say he's constantly talking about, oh, we should do Europe this summer. Is he actually pushing that forward, or is he just saying it? Oh, let's go on a date this weekend. Is he actually planning the date, or is he just saying it? Because unless you have a time, date, and location, guys, they just be saying it. 4, stay in your world. Do not drop everything to just spend 24 hours. Don't exist in somebody else's reality. Keep your own friends, your own hobbies, your own identity. Because oftentimes what these manipulators would do, and I wish I'd add this, is they will try to knock out your support structures, because somebody external to the situation can often look in and be like, something's not right with that. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to push you away from your friends, your families, your hobbies, all of the things that could provide some gut check of being like, hey, I think something's not right with that relationship. I think that guy's coming on a little bit too strong. Hey, I think him constantly asking you for money is a little bit uncomfortable. And number 5 is trust your gut. Oftentimes, and I've talked to so many people, and I've been in these situations where you just feel like something's off, and something feels off. There's a bunch of red flags, but they're making you feel so good. And you have to listen to that feeling where you're like, something feels off here. It feels like a little too much too fast. Oftentimes we're so good at rationalizing. We become like practically a public relations firm where we're like waxing over all the issues. But I want you to, have your self-love, look at the actions, ignore the words, and really have your own world. Trust your gut. Because if you recognize these tactics, you're not weak, you're not stupid, you're just human. These techniques work because they exploit your normal desires for connection. And now you know the playbook, you can start to spot them. I love you. Ciao.